Hey folks, welcome to another episode. I'm really pumped today to introduce you to Fiddleback Forge. Fiddleback Forge, up till recently, has been mostly a custom knife company. You know, you call in, you decide what you want, and you can really customize a blade. But recently they came out with a production run of their Bushfinger, and that's what we're looking at here today, is the Bushfinger from, again, Fiddleback Forge, and this is their production run. You can get a custom run if you want to of this knife and do a lot of extra features, but this is the one that they crank out on a regular basis. It's a little cheaper and just has a couple options with the color of the handles basically, and that's about it. So today we're going to not only introduce you to the Fiddleback Forge company, but also to this Bushfinger. We're going to take this thing out, do a lot of bush tasks. I mean, that's what this is for. It's kind of that companion blade. You wear it on your hip around your campsite, around your property maybe, and you're doing lots of either bushcraft style tasks or a lot of camp tasks. That's what this knife is designed for, and that's what we're going to do with it today. So with that being said, let's go hit the trail. Let's start using this Bushfinger and show you what it can do and how it performs. All right, so I want to talk to you just real quick about the blade. We're going to have a lot of conversation about the steel and the design as we go through this video, but just wanted to kind of briefly hit some points with you that we have a 4-inch blade here, so that's perfect for those companion camp or bushcraft style tasks. It's not too big, it's not too small. We have a high saber grind, which is great. I like high sabers or full flat grinds. I really like those a lot. And we have a 5/32 on the thickness, which is great. It's not too thick, not too thin. I'm really glad it's not like 3/16 or something. That would have been redundant and made it more difficult to use this blade. So 5/32 or 1/8 is always the best for this size of knife, in my opinion. Then we have that true spear point design to that really precise tip, as you can see there. There we go, instead of blocking it for you guys. And then I forget off the top of my head what the weight overall of the knife is. I'll be commenting that in right now as I'm speaking to you, both just the knife and then the knife with the sheath. But overall, I just wanted to kind of show you what this blade is, how it's designed as we're using the Bushfinger. All right, so one of the things that you'll note with this blade is that it has a continuous sweep. There's never any sort of straight point on the blade. It constantly is sweeping up towards the tip, which is really cool. I like that a lot. But what that means is you're just going to have to cut in a different style than you normally would be used to make really fine feather sticks and feather shavings, which this can easily do. You're going to kind of have to do this dragging motion and follow that edge that moves the entire time. You're going to want to do that to really get those paper thin shavings instead of just doing straight back and forth. You got to do that kind of that sweeping motion, and as you do that sweeping motion, man oh man, you're able to get those real nice fine shavings done that are easily going to help you start a fire very nicely. But you got to kind of follow again that blade draw. Nice and quick. All right, let's go ahead and look here at the handle. This handle, first off, I'll give you the length. The micarta handle scale slab here is 4.75 inches overall length, and at its widest point there, it's going to be 0.75 inches wide. So that's the size of this handle. And like I said, it's micarta handle scales. This is some of the nicest micarta I've ever seen, guys. They've really done a really good job with this. High polished it out, giving you just a little bit of ribbing throughout it, so it is going to give you a little bit of traction, but it almost feels like G10 to me, but it's just because it's been heavily polished. Really nice and rounded out all around. No you know, sharp angles whatsoever anywhere on the handle. Feels very comfortable in my large size hands. You can see there I got plenty of room to spare. I'd say if you have extra large, you're still good. If you start having to wear double XL gloves, then this might be a little too small for you. It's not too narrow either. Fills out my hand really well. No hot spots in any angle that I hold it in. I've done reverse grips. Feels very comfortable that way, and just really well designed handle. Got a little bit of a flare out. Now these are a couple things that I've noted that I would have liked to see. Is first off, there's no lanyard hole. Regardless of the knife size, I like to have a lanyard on my knife so that if I needed to, I can hack a couple little branches off, do whatever. I can't do that with this Bushfinger production run. So maybe in the future we'll see maybe a hidden lanyard hole or something like that. That's something to note. Then the other thing is it just kind of, it's all smooth, but the handle scales just kind of end. And I would have liked to see these handle scales right here just have like a little bit of a thumb plate rest right there, so that when you are either doing your reverse grips or if you're doing a pinch move in your cleaning game, it would have given you just a little bit more to kind of grasp hold of. As it stands right now, I just kind of grab the blade and then kind of push up against those handle scales, and then you're able to fillet a fish or do whatever you would need to with that. So those are just things to note. They're not necessarily anything bad. They're just things that I would have liked to see, is just some little, again, thumb plates and a lanyard hole, or thumb divots and lanyard hole. So other than that, guys, a fantastically ergonomically designed handle. I really like it a lot. I'm going to give this a total rating of 5 out of 5 on the ergonomics for this Bushfinger. All right, so let's talk value on this knife. Now, we picked this up at usamadeblade.com. I'll have a link in the description below, so you can go ahead and check that out. They're a newer knife seller to the internet, and they specialize in just selling USA-made knives, and they got a great collection and selection of blades, USA-made blades, and they have reasonable prices, which is fantastic. So I'd highly recommend going over there, checking them out, because that's where we got this blade from, and this was $225. Now, at that price point, there's a lot of competition out there. We're talking about a lot of Bark River knives. We're talking about Survive knives. There's a new Ambush out there. There's just a lot of blades and blade companies that are producing knives right in that like 200 to 250 with very premium materials and almost a semi-custom feel, very similar to the Fiddleback Forge. So for that price point, excuse me, you need to determine for yourself whether or not you like this blade and whether or not you like this setup. It definitely is a little bit different than a lot of the other blades out there from those companies I just listed. And one of the main things is that stainless steel. The stainless steel that they're using, a lot of those other companies are using forms of high carbon, high quality tool steels, CPM 3V, A1, A2, O1, those type of steels, but they're high carbons. And the thing that I feel for the price point that Fiddleback Forge has going for this Bushfinger in particular is the stainless steel that they're using, that S35VN. I mean, if you are in an area that's very humid, very wet, and you're wanting something that's going to really hold up against a lot of that rust, then that's probably why you would be wanting to go for this one over some of those other ones that I listed. Or again, you just really like the overall shape, that blade shape, you like the handle setup, and you just like what Fiddleback Forge is producing. So with all that being said, guys, when you look at other blades of similar size with this type of steel from a US company, you're right in that same ballpark between 200 250. So I think that it's a great value for the materials that you're purchasing, with a 5 out of 5 for the Bushfinger. Okay, so one thing I just want to touch on real fast is the spine on this knife. Now, the owner and designers over there at Fiddleback Forge don't like the idea of 90-degree spines. They've had experiences after reading some of the stuff that they have on their site that they've had experiences where they've really seen 90-degree spines on knives being used to throw sparks, really damaging people's hands, cutting them up. They've even had a couple of their own employees have that happen to them. So they have opted to not make a 90-degree spine on this knife, and to my knowledge, all of their other knives do not come with 90-degree spines. So that is something to note when you are purchasing the Fiddleback Forge Bushfinger, is that this does not have a 90-degree spine on it, and you'll need a striker that has a thrower on it as well to hit that ferrule run. All right, let's talk quality. What do I see in the quality rating here on the Bushfinger? Now we're talking about a very premium steel, so that alone, the materials are really nice. The micarta handle scales and how they've done them really lines up well, and there's a level of emphasis to detail. Polishing out those micarta handle scales and etching in those ribs really helps out a lot. Great grind angles, you know, really an attention to detail. Even though it's a production run, you can kind of see that it's almost like a semi-custom quality. So guys, I have zero complaints with the quality here that you're getting, and the purchase, what you're buying, is going to be very top shelf, very high quality. You're going to pay for that. You know, we've talked about the price point. So I mean, you're going to pay for that in the price point, but you are going to be getting something that's very nice and very high quality. So 5 out of 5 on this Bushfinger. All right, folks, let's go ahead and look here at the sheath that they give you on the Bushfinger. Now, it's a leather sheath, good quality leather, you know, really nice kind of taco design, fold over design. You got that nice stitching right there. That's stitched very well, no fraying that I've seen, and I've used this quite a lot. You get these two nice studs here that are hold through, so you could, you know, either lash paracord or leather straps to either lash around your leg, or you could do kind of a weave and, you know, kind of carry it scout style. You could do that as well. No drainage hole to speak of. I would have liked to see a drainage hole. There is this fire steel loop back here. This is the issue. I own like 6 different fire steels, almost every size of Light My Fire steel. I have a Nano Strike XL from Exotech. None of them fit in here properly. They're either too tight and won't fit in here, or they're too narrow and they just flop around inside this loop. So this loop is not, in my opinion, properly designed for regular use of regular fire steel. So that's something to note. So this is basically, in my mind, kind of useless. The other thing to note here is the belt loop. We have a really nice belt loop, very large, you know, there, so that's going to fit all your normal belts. Then they give you the secondary little upper loop that you could run a ring through into a dangle drop leg setup if you so desire. So it is friction. You can see in there. It's very easy for me to draw out, use the blade, but it holds it really nice and secure in there. So not a bad leather sheath, but for the price point, I would have liked to at least see either an option for Kydex, even for a little bit more, and just some extra features, either having the proper size, you know, loop for the fire steel, you know, drainage hole, and I mean, that would have just kind of helped out. I'm going to give this a rating of 3.5 out of 5 on the sheath carry options for the Bushfinger. All right, folks, so this is going to be a perfect opportunity. Now, for a lot of you, you're probably wondering, how does this S35VN hold up under, you know, use, and then how does it field sharpen? So I want to show you how this field sharpens, because as I was doing a take, I accidentally dropped this on a rock and got a real tiny little nick and a little bit of a roll right up here at the tip. So we're going to fix this today so that we can see how well it is and how easy it is to field sharpen this steel on this Bushfinger. And I'm going to use my Work Sharp field sharpener. This is an awesome sharpener. I've been using this basically since I started the channel, as soon as I heard about it. And this is my go-to field kit. We got coarse diamonds, fine diamonds, and then we got ceramic rods and leather strops. So that's what I'm going to use here, and this is what I would use on any of my other blades if I had the same type of damage out here in the field. We're going to see how this little guy can get that edge back on there, and whether or not this S35V N steel is going to be a good field steel for you that's going to be able to field sharpen quickly, or whether it's going to be a pain in the butt. We're about to find out. All right, so I don't know if you can see, you know, it's very fine, but I got that chip and that roll out, and it took me about 2 minutes. So very quick, very easy to do that. Now I just got to get that razor edge back on it, so I'm just going to use my finer diamond stone here for a moment or two. Do this probably about 10 times. And then I'm going to hit it with the ceramic rod, and we should be right back to good here in just a moment. All right, so got all of those little burrs out, and now I'm just running it on my ceramic rod here on the side of the kit, and this is going to get it back to shaving sharpness. So I've fixed a damaged blade in under 10 minutes out here in the field with this simple kit. So that's great to me. I have no complaints, and for this quality of stainless steel that we've been talking about here today, that's fantastic. You know, I mean, I've worked with some steels that I'd be taking, you know, pushing 45 minutes trying to get a good edge back on it after damaging it like that, but that is not the case. This stuff sharpens up real quick, real nice and easy. Oh yeah, shaving sharp. Very nice. So good field steel and very easy to field sharpen this Fiddleback Forge. All right, folks, let's go ahead and bring this review to a close and tell you my overall thoughts and my overall likability on the Fiddleback Forge Bushfinger production model. Now, I really do like this knife. I mean, this is an awesome, very ergonomic bush/camp knife. It gets a lot of those tasks done. I love the continuous sweep. I think they did a perfect thickness with that 5/32 on the blade. And then the high stainless steel, I really like, you know, the high quality, excuse me, stainless steel. You know, for blades under 5 inches, I prefer high quality stainless over high carbons. That's really kind of my preference. So I really like this knife. I'm just having a hard time kind of articulating where it fits, you know, in a lot of other knives. Again, we have Bark River knives and Survive knives and, you know, just a lot of blades out there that this is heavily competing with. The one thing for me that's kind of that we talked about a little bit, the lackluster, is the sheath. It's just kind of for me with the sheath. There's nothing about it that I'm like, this thing is sick and I love this sheath. It's just kind of So what I'm going to do is overall great blade. I'm going to give this a likability of 4.5 out of 5. 4.5 out of 5. If this came with like a really super premium Kydex sheath and had a lanyard hole, I think I could give it a 5 out of 5. Those are really my two you know, drawbacks just slightly, and that's nitpicking it, guys. But I'm going to give it a 4.5 out of 5. Great likability, great overall knife, and particularly if you are looking for those premium stainless steel bushcraft/camp knives, I think the production Fiddleback Forge is a great option out there. So as always, guys, thank you so much for checking out the channel. I hope that this review has helped you out with your purchasing decisions, shown you what the Fiddleback Forge Bushfinger can do for you. And as always, remember, stay equipped, stay prepared, and we'll see you out there.